Biden News Today. House Democratic leader Biden discusses way forward privately. Washington, Reuters. In a letter on Friday, House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries said he met with President Joe Biden to discuss House Democrats' views on the president's candidacy and Democrats' way forward. Jeffries, the House's top Democrat, wrote to his caucus, "In my chat with President Biden, I personally articulated the full variety of expertise, passionate viewpoints, and conclusions about the route forward that the caucus has shared in our recent time together." Jeffries said he and Biden spoke privately Thursday night. On Thursday, many Democrats watched the president's press conference after the NATO summit in Washington, with some calling for Biden's resignation. David Morgan and Katherine Jackson reported. Susan Heavey wrote. Rami Ayeb edited. Autonomous vehicles in transportation. Kentucky House Bill 7 regulates autonomous vehicle operation on state roads. Until July 31, 2026, big vehicles above 62,000 pounds must have a human driver. Car towing. Under House Bill 167, towing companies must provide rate sheets to the nearest Kentucky State Police post and other law enforcement organizations in their service regions. Tinting windshields. Senate Bill 46 enables windshield tinting with 70% light transmittance. The new regulation prohibits red and yellow tinting on automobile windows, but not others. Kentucky legislation allows tinted river and passenger doors, but only 35% of light. Rear door windows must let in 18% light. Drugs and alcohol. Kratom. House Bill 293 prohibits the sale of kratom to minors, limits what ingredients can be used, and requires a label with a list of ingredients, the vendor's name and address, a disclaimer that kratom is not intended to treat medical conditions, and other information. Self-distribution of spirits. Senate Bill 50 lets Class B craft distillers sell up to 5,000 gallons of spirits directly to retailers. Social and emergency services. EMS training grant. Kentucky needs more paramedics, so House Bill 484 established an emergency medical services education grant program. It supports ambulance providers and training institutes and allows ambulance workers to learn to become paramedics. Parental rights. House Bill 476 lets parents terminate parental rights during dependency, neglect, or abuse proceedings. Child abuse. House Bill 271 amends Kentucky child abuse, neglect, and dependency laws. It changes how the Cabinet for Health and Family Services analyzes child risk and what it must do with a safety plan. It allows mandated child abuse and neglect reporters to make oral, written, or electronic reports instead of simply oral ones. The state must also report 24/7. Birth certificates for the homeless. Homeless persons can get birth certificates for free under House Bill 100. Adoption records. Depending on additional criteria, House Bill 87 allows adult children, grandchildren, and siblings of deceased birth parents or adoptees to inspect adoption documents. Foster parents' child care perks. Senate Bill 240 lets the Cabinet for Health and Family Services give foster parents who telework at home child care benefits. Foster parents of children taken from their families. Senate Bill 151 allows displaced children to name relatives or fictive kin caretakers if they can. The Cabinet of Health and Family Services can also approve relatives or fictive caregivers as foster parents for a displaced child. Background checks. Senate Bill 145 allows Kentucky Medicaid providers to submit background checks for new hires to the Cabinet for Health and Family Services to check for child neglect and abuse or adult abuse registries.